powerful it becomes. The speed control would govern this by allowing the motor to remain at a constant speed, especially with the new electronic speed control. The motor would stay at a set RPM. As the alternator load came on, as current was drawn from the alternator, it would, the stators would go in toward the rotor, and as the power came off, as you see now, the stators would come apart. We're now slowing down the motor, and it will come to rest. Currently the speed control is being done manually. That's why you'll see the stators shaking a little bit as I turn the handle to increase or decrease speed. We're running the unit at about 3,500 RPM at this stage. I'm a little bit concerned about the nylon magnet stays. I don't know how much pressure they will actually withstand. Picking up the camera and walking around the unit to show you it's not connected to anything. This is the drive side. This was where the alternator would couple to normally.
Now the video is not skeptic proof. Somebody could say, well, they had a cheater device on the back, rotating it, that's how it worked. I don't think that's what happened. I did go to Johannesburg and visit with him. We actually helped assemble that. We took it out of the machine shop, put it together, put the magnets in it. We couldn't get it to work while we were there, but 2 months later, he sent us this video, and a couple years later, he allowed us to publish it on the internet. And now it's all over YouTube, probably a million plus visits on that. But I mentioned that as an example of a technology that's not supposed to work, but there's evidence that it does. And I've heard of about 20 different entities, people who are claiming that they've done this, that they have a magnet motor that works. Magnets repelling magnets, whether it's harnessing zero-point energy or some magnetic force that we don't understand, something's going on there. Cold fusion is another one that's gotten a bad rap. It had a bad start, got a bad stigma, and they've been fighting that ever since. But there have been hundreds of replications of that technology. They have annual conferences, a number of annual conferences around the planet, where they give scholarly papers that are published in peer-reviewed journals in their community. And yet the academic community tends to poo-poo this to this day. One company, D2 Fusion, is looking at introducing a cold fusion heater into the marketplace possibly as early as next year. And that Pons and Fleischmann, Mr. Fleischmann is working with that company. Okay, here's kind of a fun one. This is something that came up on the internet last week. This is an art teacher in University of Central Florida, was just playing around in his kitchen, can of dog food, 3 toothpicks, set it on top of another toothpick, put a graphite pencil, and the thing started spinning. He took a picture of it, put it on the internet, and then the next day, the next day he posts a video of a little gravity wheel thing, and it had 2 circular wheels on the end with little dowels that would rotate back and forth. He sets it on the ground and the thing starts rolling forward. Now that sounded pretty exciting, and the next day actually the first day he posted one that he designed, and then he posted that one. Okay, here we go. Sure. Okay.
On August 6,
Here we go.
2007, Scott F. Hall built a gravity wheel based on his research on the subject. He then posted a video of it rolling along a floor, seemingly of its own power. Then on August 8, he built another gravity wheel, this time a replica of one done by another researcher. His video showed that one accelerating along his floor as well. Had Scott cracked a code that seemed to have been lost with the death of Bessler, who died in 1745, taking his technology to the grave with him? It looked to be so, but Scott's video was not complete. He did not show the wheel rolling both directions on the same surface to rule out an incline in the surface. He's an art teacher, not a scientist, and with a barrage of skeptical comments, rather than show a follow-up video of the wheel going both directions, his next video showed his two gravity wheels in a heap of fire. Meanwhile, we had our PhD mechanical engineer, Douglas K. Furr, replicate the design. Unfortunately for the optimist in us that wanted this to be a working design, Furr's replication shows that the design does not work, but decelerates as the physicist would predict.
So not everything works. There's a lot, when you get outside the box, there's a lot of noise. There's a lot of sifting that has to go on, and most people don't have the stomach for it. And so what we try and do is, with this gathering of professionals, people who know various things about, there's a solar professional, wind professional, electromagnetic professional, ZPE professional, we can then, as a collective brain trust, look at these technologies and kind of filter them on behalf of the public, but sometimes seeing things that have not yet been validated seep through in our enthusiasm, and this was one such story. These were our headline stories this last week. In fact, the one I just showed you, we produced this video today. This is fresh stuff. In fact, I was on Mountain Time on my computer, and I thought I was supposed to be in here in just 1 minute, and my tech guy had just barely given me the URL 1 second before I had to close down my computer and come in. So that's fresh stuff. Here is, when you're talking about open sourcing a technology, imagine what would happen. Let's just say, for example, that motor, that little gravity motor, really worked. I had my friend build that because I just picturing in my mind taking this thing here and rolling it across the floor both directions. That would be pretty cool, wouldn't it? Basically a mechanism of harvesting static gravity waves that physicists would say that's impossible, yet some guy does it, and here it is, you can all see it. That would be pretty cool, and that would go viral really fast. So instead of having a negative report saying, well, we did it and it doesn't work, the report would be, we built one, here it is, and watch it work. Come play with it, pass it around the aisle, let you look at it. That would be pretty cool. And can you imagine, at some point, there's going to come a technology that's going to be very simple, easy to build, inexpensive to build. It's got a sex appeal because it's like, that shouldn't be working, yet there it is, it's working. That thing is going to just blow the lid off of the suppression that's happened, the skepticism that's happened, and that's the project that we're looking for. And we've been at this for about 3 years. We've had a few open source projects, but nothing that has really gone viral. But there have been a few projects that have been fairly fruitful for us. Another thing to talk about in open sourcing energy technologies, very often the inventor's worried about, I've spent 20 years of my life and you expect me to just give this away? There are mechanisms built into open sourcing that can provide financial input. You've got instruction manuals. You can really make really nice PDF presentation that people can download. $30 a pop, for example, is not too much. You can get the plans for free on the internet, but you have to click through this page, this page, this page. But if you want something you can just print out all in one document, save the trouble, $30, and there's a revenue center. You can sell kits. Here's the component.